So I'm here on a cold February morning in San Francisco on a location scout of the classic 1958 movie Vertigo.
I want you to follow my wife. No, it's not that. We're very happily married.
Well, then...
I'm afraid some harm may come to her.
From whom?
Someone dead.
So I'm on the corner of Mason and Sacramento, and these are the BROCKLEBANK Apartments, and this is Madeline's home from which Scotty trails her. Scotty is parked around here, and he sees her come out of her apartment here. And then she drives off in this direction. He follows her down this way, and then they turn left on California. And I'm going to be doing the exact route that we see in the movie. So we start with a left turn on California. Now, the next time we see Madeline's car, the movie kind of skips ahead a little bit. So we're going to turn right on Powell to kind of catch up with the movie. So we're going down Bush. So here I am approaching Grant, so I'm going to turn right on Grant. So this here on the right is called Tillman Place, and you can actually see that little Tillman sign in the movie, and it's still here today. And then on the left side is where the flower shop used to be, and it was a real flower shop that was open for many years and then closed down, and now it's some sort of high-end clothing store. And so there is a little alleyway right beside the flower shop, but it's gated, and so you can't actually go down that. I'm gonna try, and you're gonna see what's gonna happen. There's a little bit of geographic license here, where this alley here is actually not the alleyway that they turn down into. The real alleyway where you see them get out of the car and supposedly go into the flower shop is CLAUDE Lane, and CLAUDE Lane is about a block up this way. So I'm just gonna go around the block right here, and we're gonna go see that alleyway. I'm back on Bush, and this time, instead of turning right on Grant, I'm just gonna keep on going, and here is CLAUDE Lane. So this is a one-way, so they must have either blocked the traffic for the movie to get that left-hand turn, or maybe back in the day it actually was a two-way street. So this is CLAUDE Lane, and you can see here the very spot where Madeline gets out of the car and Scotty follows her into the flower shop. So here I am in CLAUDE Lane. This is the back alley that's supposedly behind the flower shop, even though the flower shop is in reality on Grant. What you have here is the back door that Madeline goes into. She parks her car there. She goes in here, and if I take you a little closer, you can actually see that even though it's been bricked over, the doorway is still there. You can see the outline, and over here you can see the outline of the window here. So you can see here that the alley is similar but not the same. There were some windows here, but this is really interesting. This pipe, even though it's been repainted, it's in the exact same configuration as it is in the movie. It's identical. And right here on the other side is where Jimmy Stewart parks his car and watches her. It looks like a long distance, but being here, it's actually quite close. It's kind of that movie sort of geography where it looks far away, it looks like it's far away for somebody to follow somebody else, but in reality, if you were here in the space and somebody was right over there, you would totally see them leering and lurking. So I'm here on Grand Street. This is the location of the flower shop, and this is it behind me right here. It's changed quite a bit in the last few years. And you can see right over here, back here, is the alleyway that's actually locked off. This location is important for another reason. This is the spot where Scotty is reminiscing about Madeline and sees Judy for the first time, not realizing, of course, that they're the same person. What you have in Judy's background is this building here and this alleyway, and then she walks off in this direction over here. And you can see this building in the background. There's this pole here is in the background. So I'm here at the Legion of Honor, and this is an art museum, and this is the place where Scotty trails Madeline and sees her obsessively looking at a painting of Carlotta Valdes. It hasn't really changed that much in the last 60 years. I think this sidewalk is a little bit different, and there's these guardrails, but the building itself is pretty much the same. It's in the middle of a park, so you can see the bay back there, and the Golden Gate Bridge is back there as well. And there's a beautiful sort of very European, very kind of French driving circle here. And then you can see downtown San Francisco way off in the background there. So unfortunately, the museum is closed right now because it's the age of the pandemic and most things are closed. But I did have the chance to go in here a few years ago with my wife and got to see the exact spot where Scotty sees Madeline looking at the painting of Carlotta Valdes. And you can see that the interior structure of the building hasn't changed that much, but it's been remodeled and repainted. If you come in the main door and you go and hang a left, that's the spot where Madeline was sitting. This is Fort Point, and this is the location where Madeline throws herself into the bay. So in the scene, Scotty is following her all around town and follows her here, and she's throwing petals ominously into the bay and then throws herself in, and he jumps in after her and rescues her and takes her home. So this is the place where Madeline stood. In fact, she stood actually just on the other side of the fort. You actually see them in the movie go behind here. Unfortunately, it's been blocked off by these very ugly fences, so we won't be able to go over there. But this is the location where Madeline is standing before she jumps in the bay. In the movie, there's some stairs that he uses to pull her out of the bay. Those stairs don't exist in real life, and they were added by the production. So what you had in the scene is you had half of the scene shot here on location and the other half at the Paramount lot in a water tank. So back there is the location where Madeline would have stood before jumping into the bay. And you can see there is no staircase back there, but there is quite a bit of surf coming in from the Pacific, and there are a lot of surfers here enjoying the waves. Now on the third day that he's following her, they go down this way, but instead of turning left, they turn right. And then they turn right on Cushman, which I can't do because it's a one-way street. Here, and then I'm going to turn right on Clay. So this is where there's some geographic license again. We jumped to Filbert right before Leavenworth. Oh my God. Oh. This is like a 45-degree angle. Let's just hope that the brakes don't give out. How do people live here? They must be changing their transmissions every 2 months. So I've turned left on Leavenworth, and you can see in the background here Alcatraz at the end of the street. So this is Lombard. I'm turning right on Lombard, and right up here is the famous crookedest street in the world, or something like that. And right here on the corner of Jones and Lombard is Scotty's house. So this is Scotty's house behind me. It's changed quite a bit in the last 60 years. It looks like it's been completely remodeled and pretty much unrecognizable. But you know for a fact that this is the house because of the background and the street corners. They match perfectly. So here I am on Sutter Street, right next to the corner of Leavenworth, and behind me here is the famous Hotel Vertigo. This is the famous location where Judy is living in the movie. What you have here is Scotty comes down Sutton this way, and he's following Judy, and Judy is walking along the sidewalk here and goes into the Empire Hotel. He stands here and he looks up and sees her up at the window up there. Up here is where the sign, the green sign that said Empire Hotel was. It's now since been removed, and right up here on the second window is where Judy's room is. So the outside of the hotel is obviously this exterior here, and the inside of the hotel would have been a built set in the lot at Paramount Pictures. The story goes that the reason that Hitchcock picked this hotel is because it had the giant green sign, and he wanted to do this ghostly apparition when Judy comes out of the bathroom looking like Madeline. The glow from the sign would make her look like a ghost. here we are at last, the famous and mysterious Mission San Juan Bautista. What makes this a special treat is that this location has barely changed, like 1% changed since 1958. It's almost exactly the same. And the main reason for that is, of course, it's a historical site. So there isn't much that would have changed. And so you can see the Mission on this side. And on this side are the stables. And that's the house that would have had the hearing. This Mission is in the middle of a town that's also called San Juan Bautista. And this whole plaza, it's called the plaza, is the preserved sort of 19th century area of town. And then if I go this way, behind these older buildings, you can see the town there. Eagle-eyed observers will notice that there is no tower. There was a tower before they made the movie and the tower burnt down. Every time you see a tower in the movie, it's a matte painting of some kind. So this is where the tower would have been. It's always interesting to see not just what is at the location, but what's around the location. So if we look in this direction, this is east, and you can see that the Mission San Juan Bautista is overlooking a fertile valley. I had to drive through that valley to come here. I was driving from San Francisco. This is the Plaza Hall, and this is on the second floor. Here is where there would have been that hearing after Madeline's suicide. So you see here the Plaza stables, those look pretty much the way they did back in the 1950s with the plastic horses. When this is open, it's a museum. You can go inside, you can walk around and see how people lived, in the 1800s. And of course, you can also go visit the chapel, which is still a functioning chapel. So this is the exact spot where Madeline and Scotty embraced for the last time. So James Stewart and Kim Novak would have stood right here. And then when we look this way, it's inside the studio, but this is basically the background because you can see this tree in it. And then she runs off and sort of in this direction now, this way, to go up the tower, and then he looks up and sees the tower. So this here is the chapel entrance, and this is where the tower would have been. So this is the spot from that famous shot where Madeline comes running in and goes into the chapel, and Jimmy Stewart chases her. Tim Novak and Jimmy Stewart would have run into there. This is kind of a treat because the last time I was here, the door wasn't open or couldn't open. You had to go in around through the museum. Hitchcock and the camera would have been back here. And the other thing that I've noticed that's different is in the shot, you can see the fields back there, but they've built like a cemetery in a wall, and now you can't see all the way to the back there. The chapel is pretty much exactly as it is in the movie. The only main difference, aside from the fact that there's no tower, is that there is a staircase on one side, and on the other side, kind of a room where they would do baptisms. Those have been reversed. So when he runs in, he looks right, he sees the baptism room, and then he looks left, he sees the staircase, and he goes up the staircase. And in reality, it's the opposite. If you walk in and you turn left, you see the baptism room. I think the staircase just goes up to the second floor. It's obviously not the staircase that's in the movie. The staircase that's in the movie was built on set. There was that miniature staircase that they used to do the tracking zoom shot. So I'm really lucky this door was open because they had just had a mass. They just locked the door, but I was able to get in there and see and film And not only that, but the door that leads to the stairs was open. Somebody had just opened it, so I was able to kind of get a really good shot of the stairs in there. And you can see that the stairs that they built at the studio are very similar to the stairs that are here.